Hi, my name is Tucker Lenora, and this is my second video where I am turning the lens on the job seeking situation. I have been trying to find a job for, I said 8 months, but really it's been about a year. I had a temp agency place me for about 4.5, 5 months last year. And essentially, that was the only full-time work that I had last year. So I made $16,000 last year. And the previous year, I had similar issues where I was let go from the real estate firm in January, and I picked up a freelance client, but it's just the same thing. It's not sustainable, and it's not full-time in the way that I need for bills and for sustainability and for raising a child and for keeping up a home. I rent. I wanted to talk about interviews because I feel like interviews are something that I've had opportunities to be interviewed in the past, and that seems to be drying up. I have not had very many interviews despite having a huge amount of pending applications out there. In my last video, I used all of the pending jobs kind of on the right side of the screen in a scroll format so that you could see, like, okay, she's applied for this position and this position. And there's a variety of positions, right? It's not just like, I want to be the manager of the business. It's just a variety of tiers, variety of entry level to, having experience and jumping in with the experience that you do have. I'm not picky. I am truly just putting my fishing pole out there and trying to catch anything that I possibly can. The other thing is that today I'll be showing all of my ZipRecruiter applications. I think it's interesting that we have these platforms that advertise to employers like, oh, if you need help, like, I know it costs money. I've worked at law firms where I was tasked with finding new talent, and I knew that we needed to hire quickly. And so I suggested we use Indeed, which costs about $500 for like less than 2 weeks. So I know that when I see a post, it costs the business money. And yet there just doesn't seem to be that connection with the postings and getting interviews or follow-ups or whatever in the way that I have for the past 25 years that I've been working. So that's one thing. I talked about resumes a little bit last time, and in the specific mode of restaurants, right? I was saying how I use my photo on there. Well, since I'm not trying to do restaurant work right now, that is not the mode that I'm going with. I am using an AI program that basically takes your resume and polishes it and just gives it better language. Since all of our resumes are being kind of read through via AI, I was like, well, let's use AI to our advantage so that we're not just being unselected based on some AI algorithm. I wanted to use that to my advantage. Have not seen an uptick since then, but I do know that it's a stronger resume, and I just keep setting myself up, right? Like putting myself in a good position so that when the right opportunity presents itself, then I can be ready to interview, present my resume, talk about my work experience, talk about references, all of that. Another area that I have relied on in the past, and I mentioned it briefly, was temp agencies. When I was living in San Francisco, temp agencies were super, super helpful. Manpower was one of them. I know that Manpower is national, and I've seen that they have some presence in Jacksonville, but it's mostly for trades. It's not for like administrative or office environment type things. It's for like truck drivers or for specifically skilled trades, and that's the only thing that they have postings for. So that's kind of unusual that has kind of gone away as the job market is struggling. You would think that there'd be more job placement agencies trying to connect the dots. I mean, you hear that like no one wants to work anymore. From really smart people, by the way. And I just think that with the lack of employment agencies that are out there trying to connect companies with workers is concerning, because I'm doing it by myself, but I know that I've gotten better jobs through placement of employment agencies that help kind of pair you. It's a little bit, tiny bit predatory when they do it. I mean, I know they have to make money and they have to have a business model that's sustainable. But the last situation I was in, Aerotech was the company, and they kept me on as their employee while I was working for one firm locally in Jacksonville. And, you know, it was like 4 months before they would let me be released and then be an employee, which felt like a long time to kind of get yours, you know, because I was earning $18 an hour and they were being paid a certain amount of what I would have been being paid, like a raise kind of thing, but they got there. So anyway, be that as it may, it doesn't exist. So that option literally just doesn't seem to be a viable option right now. Job recruiters, I don't think that they exist for any tier other than C-suite. I haven't seen any type of job recruiters that are interested in placing anyone in positions that are anywhere near mid-level or even entry level. So I have to assume that that comes down to it just doesn't pay them to invest in that area. And if there are not Manpower or Aerotech or staffing agencies, then there's probably not going to be a huge boom of job recruiters. I want to talk about consultation because that's something that I've done in the past, is consulting for restaurants or for so for restaurants, I've done consultation or consulting for hiring, for working with the front of the house and the back of the house and trying to sync up, kind of like get a better relationship between the two different groups of workers. I've done consultation for designing your space. So I don't mean a build out or like a remodel, but I mean like branding. So one thing that I've done that has been really, really helpful for bars is to brand their bathrooms. Girls take selfies in the bathroom. If you have any lighting at all, girls are going to take selfies because they're shy to take a picture in front of other people, but they want to capture that they're having a good night and that they feel good about how they look. And I have said this to so many bar owners, and I'd say 3 have taken me up on it. But you basically create a mural, or you create an installation or something that is markedly different than any other bathroom. It needs to look, it doesn't have to say your name, it doesn't have to be your logo, but it just has to be different enough that it is memorable, so that when a girl takes a selfie, you can recognize that background and immediately be like, oh, she was at such and such. It's just a great way to passively advertise. And so I have done the work for the artistic installation, but also talked to owners about how they can kind of expand those moments of when somebody is in your establishment taking a picture, how that can translate to passive promotion through your clients or your customers. Lastly, I have been doing freelance for since before teaching. So while I was still bartending, I've been doing freelance work, whether that be brand awareness, brand development, whether that be logo design, or promoting events in a grassroots kind of way, instead of just on Facebook Marketplace. Or actually, Facebook Marketplace is a great place to advertise for events, because it gets hundreds of eyes in front of or on whatever your event is. This is a lot more about advice and a lot less about the struggle to find a job. But these are some of the skills that I have that have not been as relevant to the jobs that I've been seeking recently. When I tell you I've applied to everything, I mean, I can tell you what I haven't applied to more easily than what I have applied to. I have not applied to the hospital because I am very squeamish, and I don't think that I would be sustainably able to start from the bottom with no medical coding experience and no just medical experience in general. I haven't pursued that. I haven't pursued fast food, although I've done a lot of restaurants and a lot of high volume establishments like Starbucks. I worked at Starbucks in San Francisco on Market Street in the Civic District. I have not looked at fast food, and I have not looked at that's about it. I've applied to car dealerships. I've applied to be in a car dealership as a floor salesman. I've applied to be the customer relations concierge person. I have applied to Aldi. I have applied to Whole Foods. I've applied to Costco. I've applied to Publix. I have applied to lots of things outside of the scope of my previous experience. But I am determined to really not only document my process in trying to find jobs, but share and connect with other people that are struggling. I think that this is a really sad time for a lot of adults that are either entering the workforce or are finding that their ability to provide for their family is now in peril because the amount of jobs have just shrunk. And we can blame it on inflation. We can blame it on AI. We can blame it on who's president. But at the end of the day, we are losing our middle class. And I identify as somebody that exists in the low class echelon. And the reason I say that is because even with a college degree that I got in 2009 from an accredited university, I have never made more than $35,000 in a year working full time or working overtime or having 2 jobs or whatever the case is. I've been working since 1998 at the age of 16 and in a variety of cities, in a variety of industries. And I just have not been able to break that barrier of breaking into, even when I was teaching, I made $31,000 a year teaching. So it is incredibly discouraging to be 43 and realize that none of the jobs that I've done previous to now seem to be connecting with the market right now, which is obviously my goal, to get hired, to connect with the economy and the marketplace right now. So anyway, I just want to keep you updated, let you know how it's going, and please like and subscribe and stay with me on this path where we try to find a job.